Okay, Saya, so you asked for a coaching session, but I figure a video would actually be a lot more informative, and I could use this to actually help a lot more other Shoto players. So, starting from the beginning, what I'm seeing is that you like to jump in a lot, and you're still a little unfamiliar with your inputs. So let's talk about that first. You started off the game with a fireball, which definitely isn't bad, but remember that Shoto is still an extremely slow projectile, and you really only want to use that as a not as a zoning tool, but as a conditioning tool where you want to either force your opponent into shield, or force them to jump, or make them pick any other defensive-ish option. Remember that jump can be used as offensively as it can be used defensively, so if they do choose to jump over the Hado, be ready for them to go for like a counter hit. And the best part about that is this is where you can go for a whiff punish, where if they decide to jump in and decide to try and hit you, you can just back up, move out of the way, shield, and just get a free percent off of that. So let's keep going. Oh, and inputs, practice them. You're going to get used to them eventually. They're a bit hard. Don't go unga bunga with them. Don't input them during a movement where you're not sure it's going to combo into it. Do it when you know the combo is guaranteed, so that you don't end up doing like a true shoryu out of nothing, and then you end up just sitting in end lag for like a few frames. That's just going to be bad. It's a bad habit. You need to break that. Again, I can see that you really like to approach with falling nair. Super bad habit. You need to break that immediately. The number one thing that I can tell Shoto players overall is that you're not an air fighter. You need to play grounded as characters like Ken or Ryu or Terry a little less, but you do mainly want to be on the floor. Why? Because you have access to easily your best options at that time, because your really only good option in the air is going to be nair, fair, and bear. And even then, they're not the best options. Nair can lead to a lot of things, and I can see why that becomes such a bad habit, because you're more or less thinking that you want to push your advantage as soon as you can. But it's a lot better to slowly space around your opponent and condition them into your moves. Say, or this is why I think crescent kick is super important in your moveset. It conditions nearly every defensive option, if not every defensive option in the game. And what you can do from there is you can just not fish for aerial attacks, because that's probably the worst position to be in as a Shoto player. Not only are you like hard dedicating to a jump, because we have, I think it's a bottom 5 airspeed, so we're not going to be able to move very well in the air. But once you jump and you need to go in a direction, you are only going in that direction. So if they move out of the way and make you miss space your nairs, you are going to get punished for that, guaranteed. And if not punished, eventually that habit can be broken down pretty easily. And once you get into the habit of jumping in and using nair, that's usually when your game plan kind of breaks down into mashing the A button, which you really, really don't want as a Shoto if you want to elevate your gameplay to that higher level. It's when you stop mashing the A button that you get a better understanding of neutral and rely a lot less on your advantage state, which I think is the best course of gameplay for Shoto players. Well, let's keep going. Yeah, again, you kind of do mash a bunch here. There's some times where I see you just nair, spot dodge. I mean, you can do that as a mix-up, but overall, I'd say you have so much better options. You could just do you can do a sliding F tilt, which is completely safe on shield if you space it. You can do a poke with a down tilt or a heavy down tilt. You could literally just use movement, grab a bit more. I'm not seeing a lot of grabs during this set, and I think grabbing is extremely important for Shotos, because everybody knows that you're just going to mash down tilt on shield, and there's absolutely counterplay to that. You don't want to be mashing down tilt on shield all the time. If anything, I do say mash up tilt a bit more on shield, not because I want to encourage mashing, but because at the very least, up tilt does cover more options out of shield. It covers jump and can lead to a few more combos. So don't spam down tilt on shield. You really could just be going for better mix-ups. You could do down tilt into down B, like I said before, down tilt into grab, down tilt into spot dodge or something if they want to up smash immediately out of it. It's not all about picking it's not all about picking to mash just because it stops them from being able to pick an out of shield option, because it really doesn't do that. What you really want to do is think about what your opponent is going to do if you mash, because I think the number one thing opponents like to do with shield is, instead of just automatically picking automatically picking defensive option out of shield just like that. Well, okay, some Wi-Fi players tend to do that, but it's a bad habit. But once you get into that higher level of play, where you're going to see a lot is opponents will just let you mash on shield and want to see what you do after you mash down tilt a bunch, and it's from there that they can push their advantage state harder, because you decided to pick a bad option on shield, which is down tilt. And yes, it is safe, and I can see why that habit develops, but it's safe until your opponent learns to not be stupid and neutral and pick a defensive option. Once they decide to let you continue to mash on shield, they're going to figure out, okay, what option can I do to get out of down tilt? What option can I use to punish the down tilt? And what options can I use to avoid the down tilt in the first place? And from there, the entirety of your Nair down tilt game plan on shield is going to completely get destroyed, because they're going to know exactly what you're going to do. You're going to continue to do it because it's a habit, and essentially every time you want to land with a nair and go straight into down tilt, you're going to get punished. And if that's your entire game plan, which tends to be the biggest game plan of lower tier Shoto players or mid tier Shoto players as well, once that game plan is completely knocked out and you have no idea what to do, it comes into a time where you start just doing run up Tatsus, run ups down tilts. I do still like the run up down tilts, because if you're just using it to poke at their shield, if you're just using it to safely space around, see where you can find some openings, that's completely okay. But when it comes to doing random side Bs or random autos in neutral to get that percent, that's when I see Shoto game plans really crumble, because that's where they give their opponent a lot more openings because they're dedicating to even harder options. And sometimes Shotos just don't learn, and instead of fishing for side Bs and autos, they keep jumping in. And as Shotos, obviously, as explained before, you cannot jump in like that. It's just not the smartest idea, and jumping in will put you in more of a disadvantageous area, because usually when you jump in, either somebody's going to dash back and use a big hitbox, say like if I were playing, I'd use Terry and I'd just dash back and use an F tilt against a landing nair. And from there, I can get up to 30%. Or if I want, I can just hold shield while you jump in, because I know you're going to nair. And after that nair, most likely you're going to down tilt. So I can just hold shield, grab, maybe pick up the out of shield with the invincibility. And from there, I get 3%. You're in the air, and now you're either forced to air dodge, drift away, or double jump. And because of how horrendous Shoto's disadvantage is, we could really capitalize off of how long you spend in the air. Focus can make that a little bit easier on you, but I still would just advise on not jumping in as much. You can jump in. I'm not saying never do it, but if you are going to jump in, maybe mix in some tomahawk grabs in there, which is jumping in, landing with a grab instead of landing with a hitbox. And that could lead to a lot more mind games where maybe your opponent wants to spot dodge that grab instead. And from there, that's when you start doing nairs into down tilts, because that could capitalize off of spot dodges and maybe even rolls if you're able to react to that roll. Say they see you jump and they want to roll away. Well, instead of just jumping, you keep drifting forward, and then you can just capitalize off of the defensive option they pick after the roll, because now they've lost a good amount of stage control, unless you're already in the corner. But then again, you wouldn't have been able to jump well like that. But they've lost stage control. Now they have to pick an option, because now you're jumping towards them. They just rolled, and most likely they're going to shield. So if they roll away, just jump in, keep jumping in. You can grab again, or you can set up for your shield break setups. That's completely okay too. Or if they roll in, you could just You could just land right there, just land with the hitbox. You'll be right on top of them. And if that hitbox doesn't connect, auto turnaround exists. They still have to pick a defensive option after that, capitalize on whatever they pick. A lot of the times when you end up in those scramble situations where your opponent's trying to get away from you, that is your best advantageous area because they feel like they're forced to pick a defensive option. Now, sometimes players might be a bit more smart and they might capitalize on making you think they're going to pick some options. But, that's just the entirety of high level play. People have a deeper understanding of neutral, but right now I want to get into a general guide of what not to do. So once you get there, you can capitalize on whatever they want to pick. And honestly, because of Shoto's auto turnaround, our amazing shield pressure, and our ability to just, not need to react to a lot of things because we can just press A, capitalizing on those scrambles is pretty easy, I'd say, once you understand. Once you understand how to capitalize on those scramble situations, it's usually, if not always, in our favor because we have the safer and bigger buttons to press. And that's usually what you want to go for. So let's keep going. Okay, this isn't really a Shoto thing, but just like a quick general gameplay thing. After somebody falls off of the platform after they die, that doesn't mean give up stage control immediately. I get it. You want to run away from them, make sure they don't get any hits in, especially because you're at high percent and you don't want to be either killed or taken off stage or put on ledge. But the thing is, running towards the ledge is exactly what that's going to get you. And I feel like it's very counterproductive into staying off that stage. It's just a good habit of knowing when to shield, knowing when to use your defensive options correctly in situations where they got off the Angel Plat and they want to go capitalize on that invincibility. That's when you mix up your disadvantage options. I'm not saying roll behind them every time because that's super bad and so many people know how to read that. But I'm saying like you don't need to go to ledge. If you hold on to that stage control, you're farther away from the ledge, which means they can't corner pressure you as well. And you're farther away from off stage. So obviously they're not going to be able to knock you back off there as easily. So it might give you a better chance at landing safely. You'll have a better time just not being taken off stage, which is exactly what you want. And as long as you're not going to be taken off stage, you can still box around them, move around them for a bit. You don't need to use defensive options. Sometimes you can just use movement. I do suggest that a lot, though. I suggest shielding, using movement, and jumping here and there is mainly what you want to use. But if you feel like you haven't used spot dodge or roll in a while, completely just go for it. It's completely fine. This is when you mix up your options, and I do suggest you go for that. Let's keep going. Oh, okay. Here's also a bad habit. Do not always land with focus. Please don't always land with focus. I saw that you wanted to land with that fast fall down air, and yeah, fast falling's okay. I'm okay with that. That's fine. Know when to mix it up. Just don't mash that. But the number one thing I see from mid tier Shoto players is that they absolutely love to land with focus. And while landing with focus isn't necessarily bad, it can be bad if you constantly land with it, but constantly doing the same thing over and over again is always going to be bad in Smash. What you want to do is mix in those focuses here and there, but your opponent is going to catch on, and yeah, they're going to be able to punish it. It may seem hard to punish from your perspective because of that free one hit, but there's so many characters with either multi-hits, big grabs, or can just jump. If they just decide to jump over you, then you have the potential to be put into the air for even longer, because obviously a lot of the characters that can get big combos off of a down air in that spikes you into the air, and then capitalize off of that by not only the down air percent, which is usually a lot higher than most combo starters, but everything after that, because now not only do you have to land, but now they've seen that you like to land with focus. So if you're going to constantly land with that, then they're going to constantly look out for it. But here's the thing, if they're constantly looking out for it, that's perfect for you too. So it comes off as there's kind of a separate mind game to them mind gaming you. They're constantly looking out for focus. don't land with focus, land with something else, mix it up. And then, it comes back. You can come back to doing focuses again, because focus isn't a bad landing option, but you tend to use it a lot. And I see that a lot in mid-tier Shoto players, that they love to land with focus. I don't hate landing with focus. I hate when people do it every single time they're in the air. That one free hit could actually be really bad for you, because that could end up being 3% for your opponent. And then they could wait for you and see if you want to focus attack dash cancel, or if you want to actually use the full thing. Both of those can be read, and both of those are still somewhat dedicatory. Especially, just going for the down B. You're going to dedicate really hard to something that could completely whiff, because the hitbox isn't the best, especially on Ken. So, if it whiffs, you're kind of fucked. You're going to take 60%, most likely. Be ready to take that percent too, especially if you're really unga bunga with your gameplay. You're going to take a lot of percent. That's just kind of our character. But the fact that our advantage state is so insane, usually that doesn't matter. But we'll get into that later. Oh, okay. Another tip. Do not constantly use your double jump off stage. I'm seeing that every time you're sent off stage, you usually pick either a fast fall option into a double jump, or you pick a Shoto off stage to double jump. The hardest thing about Shotos by far is keeping track of how your opponent wants to edge guard you. And that pressure is alleviated a little by online, because it's a little harder to edge guard. But I still suggest that you save that double jump a lot of the time, because what ends up happening is you use your double jump. Guess what? You're still in a position to be edge guarded, because all you did was move a little bit higher. So if they jump towards you, you double jump, and they have their double jump, you've basically forfeited that stock, because now you don't have a double jump to recover. And if they hit you and you're off stage and they decide to edgeguard Tatsu, that's the easiest thing to edgeguard in the game. You cannot be using Tatsu as your. I mean, no, you can. You can use it as one of your main getting back to ledge options. But I heavily suggest just either recovering high, air dodging. Air dodging the ledge is fine. I just do not suggest going for double jump immediately. And I'm seeing you use double jump immediately out of disadvantage too. You just should not do that. Using double jump out of disadvantage is super bad, because that gets rid of our one mix-up that we have. Am I saying never use it? Again, no, I'm not saying that. That comes back to the down B and landing with that argument. I'm not saying never use it. I'm just saying that it can be a bad habit, and I'm seeing that it is a bad habit with your gameplay. I don't suggest using double jumps immediately out of a hit that puts you in a disadvantageous area. It's fine to use it. Realize when you're not going to want to use it though. That was some good crescent game mind games there. I like that. Down tilt into crescent kick into run up down tilt. Yeah, that was fine. I'm okay with that. That's cool. Yeah, again, what I'm seeing right now, lots of jumps. I get it. Nair is super good. Fair is pretty good. Bear is pretty good. I think those moves are all great. It's just that they're not on the right character to be great on. Ken, Ryu just are not the right characters, except maybe Nair. I mean, you can set up for bear stuff with Ken, but, obviously you're not going to be bearing in neutral as Ken. You're not going to want to be nairing in neutral, and fair is mainly used as a poking tool and a safe option on shield when spaced. Otherwise, these are not your main neutral options. You just should not be using aerials as much as you are. Again, I'm not saying you can't use them at all, but it's just you can't be using them this much for a character who wants to play grounded. Now, what I'm seeing the most here is that you really struggle to anti-air a lot. I'm seeing that this Diddy Kong is able to jump pretty free most of the time. And I see that you're trying to anti-air him with your aerials. I see the thought process, but the thing is, we have one of the strongest, or Ken has one of the strongest anti-airs in Shoryu It's massive, it has some invincibility, and it kills extremely early. You can use bear. You can't use bear as a call out because sometimes it's better than Shoryu in some specific areas. Say they're jumping from ledge or something. Sometimes you don't want to be dedicating to a Shoryu because sometimes you could just screw yourself over and either put yourself onto ledge yourself or accidentally just SD or something. Mid-tier Shoto players may not know the perfect distance to uppy from where you might miss ledge, which is okay. It's just getting used to that. But yeah, you could be using upbeat a lot more from what I'm seeing. And also, roundhouse is an amazing call out for either people jumping towards you or people who are going to jump out of shield or something. Not only because it's safe on shield, but because it has a massive hitbox. The disjoint on that move is ridiculous, and you need to capitalize a bit on that more, because if you had just used roundhouse in like a lot of these situations where Diddy Kong is side being or jumping to throw a banana or trying to double jump towards you to use a fair or something, you could have dashed back and use a roundhouse, which easily would have killed him, because look, he's at such high percents. You guys are scrambling so much, and I feel that roundhouse is such an anti-scramble option because it big hitbox, safe, and your opponent has to be like, he has to respect that option so much. And a lot of the times in scramble situations, you're going to see jumping away happen. And of course, roundhouse is great for calling out those jumps. Shoryu is great for calling out those jumps when they're afraid. You just need to capitalize on that a bit more. Now, okay, so as a general guideline, this is what I'd like to say. Like I said, I was going to revisit advantage state and neutral. You need to abuse walking in neutral more, specifically our micro spacing kind of deal, where we usually walk during neutral to whiff punish a lot. What I see a lot of Shotos not understand is that we do have an advantage state that is like top tier, like easily one of the best advantage states in the game. But the thing is, they take the idea that having such a strong advantage state means that they should be pushing forward and forcing themselves to get in those situations to press their advantage state buttons. But the thing is, they're missing the fact that since we have such a strong advantage state, that's the exact reason to not push forward so hard, and the reason to go for more whiff punish gameplay. They don't understand that that because we have such a strong advantage state, instead of being able to just be playing super risky, jumping in with nair all the time, going straight into down tilt, we could just be playing a lot more, like significantly more patient with just walking and using whiff punishes instead, because what that ends up doing is it completely enhances our neutral instead. And neutral is always better than advantage state, without a doubt. You should always play out neutral instead of fishing for advantage state and early kills and stuff like that. I think that if there's so many more positions where walking would just be better. So, okay, let me give you an example. This one should be easy enough. Say you're playing against, let me look at my screen here. So let's say Fox. All right. Say you're playing against Fox, and your main ideas for using walking are to walk in and out of their punish zone, kind of like Street Fighter, actually. It's exactly like Street Fighter. You want to walk in and out of your punish zone to yours and their punish zone to capitalize on them whiffing because you walked into their punish zone, and to completely space around their better, their bursty options. So what does that mean? In simpler terms, say you're fighting a Fox and their best burst option is definitely dash attack. They can use that whenever they want. It's fairly safe. It can cross up. So say they want to use dash attack a bunch. Well, instead of, jumping in, nairing, and trying to just force their way into that, there are so many ways where instead of jumping and putting yourself in the air against Fox, which is super fucking bad, don't do that, you can just be walking instead. So be out of range of that dash attack in the first place. So say every time Fox runs around you, keep in mind where his dash attack range is, because that's you. Because a good rule of thumb is your opponent's character's best burst option is usually their punish zone. So say Fox's dash attack, the distance that covers, that's his burst zone. Terry's burst option or best burst option is crack shoot. So the entire distance of crack shoot is his punish zone. So you want to keep that in mind, because this is where the best part about walking comes in. You can get your entire advantage state while taking absolutely 0% because you capitalized on your opponent dedicating to an option because you walked in and out of their punish zone. That's all you did. You just walked into their punish zone and they saw like it was an opportunity to push their buttons and get their advantage state going. You walked right back out. They tried to react to you walking in, but you're already out of that zone. So now they dedicate to Fox dedicates to his dash attack. And guess what? Now he's in end lag with his dash attack. Now, obviously there's some moves that are still safe after you use them. Not safe, but like have a little less end lag. So say Fox has enough time and you walked a bit too far to punish that dash attack. So what do you think he's going to do after that dash attack? This is the best part where mind games come in. Okay, he dedicated to a dash attack. Now you're in the zone to punish him, but you're not exactly there. So the Fox wants to, obviously because of our amazing advantage state, he wants to be afraid of that. He's going to be afraid of that. So you watch what he does right after that dash attack, because now you're out of that punish zone and they're right there for you to wail on them, basically. So what are they going to do? You watch. Do they shield? Okay, well, if they shield, react. You can grab. You can set up for shield break setups. You can just pressure their shield and start another mind game from there. Once their shield is pressured and super low, about to pop, they're going to pick another defensive option. Maybe they're going to roll. Maybe they're going to, I don't know, pick a up B at a shield. Maybe they're going to nair. Maybe they're going to attack out a shield. These are all punishable options. And I'm not really going to go into depth on how to punish them, because there's a lot of guides on that, and I'm losing my voice. I've been talking for nearly 30 minutes. So the thing is, you can set up for so many things because you walked in and out. Now, say they are in your punish zone when you walked away. Guess what? Now you can perfectly set up for an F tilt. Now you can set up for a down tilt. You can walk back, heavy down tilt after the dash attack, and now you can set up in a Tatsu. You can set up into a roundhouse. You can set up into a Hado, and then that Hadoken keeps them in your punish zone, so you can run up and mind games from there. See what defensive option they're going to pick. There are just so many things that you can do off of walking on ledge. So when you walk on ledge, your opponent typically wants to see any sort of movement at ledge, so they feel a bit more safe. So say you're walking at ledge and you walk a bit more forward towards their get up attack zone and they try to get up attack. Well, guess what? You can just walk away, walk right out of that punish zone. And now you have time to set up for a ledge trap. Now you have time to capitalize on their dumb get up attack. Maybe you could react or predict that get up attack and use focus. And then your focus tanks that one hit, and then you get a free punish off of that. You can go for a downer at ledge and kill them at like 50. The main thing I want you to take away from this is that you need to box a lot less in the air. Ken is not an aerial fighter, and I know that he gets a lot of his combos off of a nair, but the main thing isn't getting your combos. The main thing is getting your openings so you can get those combos. So like just play neutral essentially. And please abuse walking a lot more. It's not abused enough with Shotos because they don't know too much on how to abuse it. There's a player named Ronin X9 who made an amazing guide on this already, so I heavily suggest checking that out. But walking is easily the best neutral tool in the game, in my opinion, because you have access to shield all the time. It's the perfect whiff punish tool, and it's just really hard for people to space around because you can constantly just walk out of somebody's move. Say a Lucina wants to forward air you out of shield, walk away. That's it. It's extremely powerful. So yeah, I think those are the biggest takeaways. Practice your inputs. You'll get used to them eventually. They're not hard. It's just practicing. Don't jump in all the time. Focus on using walk back, F tilt, walk back, heavy down tilt as punish options. It's going to be tough at first, but once you understand where characters can't be and how to punish when they get there, that's usually like when you reach a higher threshold of gameplay anyways. I really want to respect that your advantage state is good, but you need to respect that you can't get your advantage state if you can't play neutral properly. And I think that's about it.